Alright. Welcome back to Luke's Amateur Hour. A bunch of junk to throw away here. Don't need this no more. Welcome back. Today, we're doing a review of this guy. My chainsaw. Let me figure out where the heck I kept my nailer though. There it is. This thing don't work anymore. So, what I got today is a review of the DeWalt 20 volt XR 12-inch bar chainsaw. Battery powered. Boopity boop. Part number. I did the unboxing not too long ago. There you go. Part number. So I've used this about as much as, or I don't want to say as much, but it's a 5 amp battery. I've used it in as extensive as heavy duty a use as I'm going to use it, right? So, my brother, hey bud, happy you're watching. My brother, when I told him I got this, he started giving me a hard time. Look, yeah, it's battery powered, right? Hey, what's the second word of this channel? It's not Luke's professional tree service removal. It's Luke's amateur hour. I'm an amateur. This, I'm hoping, will keep me out of trouble, although it does have one dangerous part, and I'll get to that in a minute. But the long and short of it is, for 180 bucks, bare tool, $250 if you buy it with the battery. I actually got a deal. I got it for like $230 by buying the bare tool and a separate battery myself. I think it's, if you've got the kind of stuff a homeowner needs to do, it's going to be fine. I'm talking cut and brush, fallen limbs, the occasional dead tree that's 12, 14 inches around at most. That kind of thing. Clean up around the property, maybe taking down an old deck, that kind of stuff. This is good for the money. Now, what's that compared to a gas-powered? I don't know, man. Go shop for a gas-powered yourself. Figure that out. But for what I needed it to do, it did everything I needed it to do. A couple things I want to point out. First off, the oil is in here. Always take a look at that before you start, because it does seep oil, I guess is the word I would use. With that said, you also want to put it on something that, got some old t-shirt shop rags that I always put underneath it, or some cardboard to soak up the oil. And it's only a 12-inch bar, but I read online that you can buy the 14-inch Oregon bars for it. And it is a Oregon chain and bar already that comes with it, just branded DeWalt. So, no big deal. I like it a lot. I do recommend it for the price. I think it's good. And my brother works for land management for Pennsylvania, and he started giving me a hard time, and I said, man, if it's any bigger than this chainsaw can handle, I don't want to be cutting it myself. That's what professionals do, right? I'm going to hurt myself. I'm going to hurt my property. I'm going to hit something. That's about the point where I'm in over my head. And I'm an amateur, but I know that well enough to know when I'm in over my head. And so this, I'm thinking, will keep me from getting in over my head. That's all the pluses, right? I think ergonomically it fits really well. This, the little trigger safety, not bad at all. You don't notice that it's there. You get used to it in the cadence. The one thing I will say, and I don't think this is unique to this electric saw, but the stop go is really, really heavy on the pull initially. It loosened up a little bit, still really, really clacky, which is good. But yeah, I think it's really good. And here I'm going to pause and put a video of the tree that was down that I needed to tear up. And we're going to start chopping up this down tree. This is a before. We'll give it a whack. We'll see how it goes. Stay tuned. All right, so that tree fell down on my property, had to take care of it. You saw the saw sitting there. One charge of the battery. And what did it look like when I was done? Yeah, that's about what, 15 minutes? Something like that. Got her apart, 12 to 14 inch chunks. The last couple pieces here, we got through it just fine. Pretty straight cuts, but that's about as big as I'd want to cut something on the ground. I mean, if it were upright, maybe a little bit bigger, but that's about it. So yeah, it went pretty well. Cool, welcome back. All right, so you saw it handled it. One charge of the battery, it was the 5 amp hour battery. I was a little disappointed with that, but you can see that they build this to be accepting of bigger batteries. This is the biggest one I got. No big deal, but I was able to take that whole thing apart with just the one battery, which I was really happy about. And like I said, that's about the biggest I'm going to take down with this. So I'm not really that concerned about it. I do have one concern though. Hey, if you've stuck around this long in the video, yeah, it's a recommend. Go ahead, buy it. It's good stuff. If what I described, you know, poking around the house, maybe taking a deck down, that kind of thing, nothing crazy, you don't want to get yourself in trouble, I highly recommend this for homeowners. I mean, look at all the warning labels. That means it's good times, right? Here's the one thing that I'm going to warn you about, and I'm going to take a sip before I get into it. Right, so here's the thing. A chainsaw deserves the fear of God, right? You need to respect this tool. You don't need to be terrified of it. You just need to understand that one wrong move and you could be losing a foot, right? Let's be frank here. If you're positioning incorrectly, chain bounces back and hits you in the elbow, or it bounces down and hits you in the foot, you're losing something. It's not like an oopsie, no, you're on your way to the ER if you can get there before you bleed out, right? This is a serious tool. This will cause damage. We ain't joking around here, right? Here's the thing with this though. I have boxes I gotta throw out, but I've got a bunch of these things. I got 3 separate drills. I got a Sawzall. I've got this, that, and the other. I got a flashlight. My body, my brain, my Luke has not trained me to fear something that is powered by one of these. There is no inherent fear of God, extra and above anything, when it's powered by a battery, just because it's always been a drill. Right? And yeah, you can mess yourself up. My uncle just messed up a finger really bad with a hole saw. But it's just a drill. It's just a drill. So when you plug in the electric, and all you have to do, you plug in the battery. All you have to do to get started is pull this guy back, there, and then push and pull the trigger. You're running. You got 12 inches of death there, running right in front of you. There's no pull starting, there's no choke setting, there's no making sure it's running properly. You don't have to deal with gas and oil. There's none of that, what's the word I'm looking for? None of that ritual that goes along with starting a lawnmower that can take your feet off if you put your feet underneath it. Or starting a weed whacker that you got to wear goggles for because you might kill your eyes, right? I've actually had goggles save my eyes before, right? There's none of that. There's no noise that says, hey, something dangerous is going on. Yeah, there's noise, but it's not loud. This doesn't tell you. My body, my ritual around using a battery in a tool doesn't give me any indication that I might lose a foot if something goes wrong. So I found that I was being a little careless with how I used it initially, and I wasn't giving it the proper respect it needed. So this is my caution to you guys. Yes, buy this tool. Be very, it serves its function very well. But respect it. Know that just because it's powered by a battery doesn't mean it's not going to take your foot off. Just because it's powered by a battery doesn't mean you might not lose a finger, right? This thing can mess you up. This can be really bad. Wear your goggles. Wear gloves, wear any other protective gear you feel necessary for it, right? If you got the chainsaw chaps and you got the steel-toed boots, wear those. Respect it. Just because it's a battery doesn't mean it won't mess you up seriously. That's it. That's a word of caution from Luke. You know, I don't want anybody coming back to me trying to type with 4 fingers across both their hands. Like, hey man, I got this chainsaw, it was great until it bit me. Like, if this bites you, you're going to the hospital. So be cool, respect it, add respect and think about that, because with a regular chainsaw, you know you need to respect it because it sounds dangerous. It requires you to go through a ritual to get it going that feels maybe dangerous because the other tools that go through that same ritual are also potentially dangerous. So respect it. Respect it. Even though it's driven by a battery, it will mess you up. You saw what it did to that tree. Hey, that's all I had. Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. I know this was a long one, and I know it was a long way coming. I got another one coming pretty soon. I'm building my girls a playhouse. So look for me to dribble out some videos around that. But thanks for tuning in. My name's Luke. I'm an amateur. I'm having a beer again. It's been a great year, guys. Have a good day.